What is good, my brothers? This is the youngest Jim bringing you another little Madden video. Fellas, this is MFL plus Champions League 2, my breakdown of my Tampa Bay Islanders. I'll quickly hit on my draft strat, kind of how the squad is looking. You can see I've played my week 1 game. We were able to come out with the dub 28-22. Close game. Shout out A-Town Falcons. It was fun to hang out with him and talk to him. It was a good game. Came down to the wire. He almost recovered an onside kick to make it a Cinderella ending. I'm pretty happy with my squad. Let's go over to, I'm going to do it by the depth chart and kind of go over what my draft strat was. I took a corner in the first round of the draft and focus on defense heavily to build this roster. Couple different points. I'm actually gonna let's go to NFL roster. So I took Trent McDuffie off rip with the thought I am a better offensive user than defense, so I figured I can draft defense early, help hopefully have the game help me out a little bit on defense, and then I can use her by way to hopefully a successful offense. You can see that I got Caleb Williams for my quarterback in this game, fellas. He is a superstar X Factor at draft, a 75 overall quarterback. I think it is absolutely egregious, number one, that they gave him X Factor off of the season he had last season. But we are playing a video game, and they gave him X Factor. 23-year-old quarterback starting a franchise. Not everyone's going to agree with me on this, but in my opinion, I would take this guy at the 101, brothers, if I'm starting a franchise. A lot of you guys, you're taking your Josh Allen, your Lamar Jackson, your Joe Burrow at the very beginning of the draft. If you can give me a quarterback that's not going to hit regression for 7 seasons and I get him at X Factor at 23 years old, I'm going to have Caleb Williams in the 90s in probably less than 2 seasons, fellas, and I'm not going to have to pay him the same amount of money that other guys are going to have to pay their top-tier quarterbacks they drafted. This is an absolutely just insane value in my opinion. So I took him in the early part of the second round. Already, got clutch abilities on him. He's already in 1 game. I bumped him up 3 upgrades already, which is absolutely insane. This is going to be a problem. Part of what I wanted to cover is drafting for, I'm in League 2 with the hopes, very wishful thinking, positive thinking, that eventually I'll get promoted up to League 1. So not all of my team, I drafted youth. If I was in League 1, I would have drafted all youth with the plan to be in that league for 7, 8 seasons. This league, a couple times, I did try to take best overall instead of just youth because I need a squad that I can win with ASAP. Hoping I can make top 4 this season. But even if I don't make it this season, I drafted enough youth that I can hopefully be dangerous for more than 1 season. You see Rashad White, Trey Benson in the backfield. I'm going to probably develop Trey Benson a little bit more. Good speed, a little bit younger. I'm not going to be using a fullback in my set. Mike Evans, when I'm talking about took best overall, at the point of the draft, I drafted Mike Evans. He was several overall above everybody else that was left. Nobody wanted to draft a receiver with, in his 12th year. But he is a superstar X Factor. I think I could be making that up, but we're going to let this load. We're going to check him out. Superstar X Factor. I will get a phenomenal season, at least 1 good season out of him. Tank Dell, for me, is going to put up absolute numbers this season out of my slot position. And I got Josh Downs holding it down. A lot of you guys know that I like to run 5 wide. Dish and dice. Isaiah Likely, phenomenal young tight end. Good. Just archetype for being a receiving tight end. He's absolutely going to dice. I got Terrence Ferg as a good young backup. I punted O-line. So we did in the draft, for anybody who doesn't know, we drafted 15 rounds, took maybe about 3.5 hours, something like that. And I did not draft any O-linemen. So my O-linemen are all drafted late. Looks like we're not doing horrible on age, so I don't hate that, but they're all low 70s overall. So for me and anybody else who has a weak O-line, we've been talking about this in the chat. Not everybody seems to, not everybody grasp all the different parts of football. But if you have a weak O-line, that means there are certain things you need to do in your scheme to protect your O-line. So I do not have the luxury of taking a lot of 5-step drops and waiting 5, 6, 7 seconds for plays to develop down the field. I need to run some West Coast. I need to run some quick game. And then there's some different creative things you can do on offense to get the ball out quick. Because like I said, in the draft, I focused elsewhere. So my weakness is O-line, so I'm going to have to play accordingly. Left edge, not doing great. Right edge, not doing great. There is a pretty big debate, I feel like, for the Madden players on some of the most important positions in building a franchise. And I think a lot of guys think that, agree that edge, your edge rusher, if you have one very good edge rusher, it's probably the most dominant or important position you can have on your franchise. I decided to go with my corners and my secondary. And I'm going to let this year's new stunts and twists system help create pressure for me. As you can see, all of my edge rushers are low overall. I did draft 2 strong defensive tackles, but they're both 31 years old. They are both 91 overall, which is phenomenal. Once again, one of those things, I decided to draft these guys when they were the best available. Several overall better than their peers, but they're just at the tail end of their career. So I'm not going to have these. If I'm not good enough to get promoted and I'm stuck in League 2, it's something I'm going to have to deal with in the coming seasons. But for League 1, at the value, I thought it was a phenomenal pick. I run a nickel set. I don't run a lot of linebackers, so you can see my linebacker position is pretty weak here. I do have Ivan Pace, who I'm playing in my nickel set, 24 years old, 78 overall, really solid for his age and his overall. So he's going to be playing. This is where I focused in the early part of the draft. Really solid cornerback core to start the league. You can see Trent McDuffie, Cam Taylor-Britt, and Greg Newsome are all going to be on the field. In my nickel set, Trent McDuffie was my first-round pick. I got him at 29th overall. I was in the back of the first, which I was totally fine with, especially getting to draft Caleb Williams at the end of the draft. Antoine Winfield Jr. holding it down for me, and he is a superstar X Factor, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look here. He is a cornerstone of this Tampa Bay Islanders League 2 franchise, 27 years old, is going to put up numbers for me, I hope. Also drafted Brian Branch early on, 23 years old, 89 overall superstar. That is just a phenomenal draft pick. So, like I said, I am a stronger offensive user than a defensive user, so I focused on the defense for this league and picked up offense where I could. I knew I needed a quarterback that I could dish the ball with based on the way that I play. You can see my Tampa Bay Islanders down there, 81 team overall, 79 on offense, 85 on defense. I think based on the way that I play, that offense is going to jump. The other thing is my O-linemen obviously need a lot of help. So the next thing I was going to touch on was a few quick pointers. And a lot of us are all learning the game. The new coaching system and franchise points is very different than it's ever been. I'm going to go ahead and dish out some free game for the bros, just because I know not everyone's going to agree with me on what I'm doing. But I'm going to go ahead and give out some free game. If it helps somebody out, great. And then maybe you will hit me up in the future if you want to talk ball or if you got some good Madden info that we can go back and forth on. In my opinion, let me go over to the abilities. So I'm in a different league where I know I'm going to have the same team for 7, 8 seasons, whatever it's going to be. In that league, I went with player development as my coaching route tree, coaching specialty. In this league, I went offensive guru. Knowing I was going to draft defense first, I knew I was going to need a little bit of help on offense, being behind in the draft and offense, so I have access to a couple extra abilities. In this league, I don't know if it's going to... I'm going to have to jump coaches. So one thing I was starting to mention is my offensive linemen are obviously behind. So I have fully maxed out my OL training XP. A couple notes on this. Number one, obviously my O-line needs some help getting caught up to speed. There are training, coaching abilities for every position. One really nice thing about going the route that I went, in my opinion, is I am getting I'm getting a benefit to 5 different players going this route. Whereas, if you go some of the solo positions, quarterback, tight end, running back, you're not quite getting the benefit, in my opinion, on running that trait to develop those players. So I'm getting my 5 O linemen all boosted up by going this route. What I really wanted to talk to you guys about is this right here. This is unbelievable that this is in the game, brother. Hit a miss, stick a miss. I'm about to be dropping nerds all season. Increase fatigue. So tier 1, increase fatigue hit on offensive players from hit sticks. Tier 2, slightly larger hit stick timing window. Tier 3, significantly larger hit stick timing window. And the banger, tier 4, significantly increased fumble odds for successful hit sticks. Not everybody goes for a lot of hit sticks. If you are decent at your timing and your defensive user, this, in my opinion, is an absolute game changer. I could be wrong about this. I'm under the impression that this game is a little bit different than 25. If you're running a conservative ball carrier, I believe that only affects AI ball carriers. I think your user ball carrier, you have to hold onto a button to cover the ball to decrease the chance of fumbling. Like I said, I could be wrong on that. That's something that I was told. Regardless, this is an unreal ability that this is in the game. This is sick shit. I will be running this in any franchise that I'm in until they nerf it, because this is an absolute game changer. Every now and then people will make mistakes and throw picks. Every now and then, if you have a decent switch stick, you can get takeaways based on just outplaying somebody. But this is just, like I said, it's just an absolute game changer. I think this is a cheat code. There's probably some other abilities in the game, either head coach, offense, defense, trainer, that you guys might like better. But I think this is the most overpowered shit in the game, and I will be running it. And I've already forced a fumble in the first game that I've played, and I definitely think it had something to do with that. And so any way that you can try to find advantages, because all of these guys in this league are all good players. So I think it's just, trying to find those little edges to try to help you be successful. I think that's going to do it, fellas. I'm going to try to drop a lot of content on just the game in general, ball knowledge, things that I pick up, highlights and recaps of the games that I'm playing. I just want to do a quick overview on my thought process of building this roster, being in League 2, and how I'm going about it, and what I've picked up from here the first 2 weeks of this game for those that had early access. Really appreciate you guys. I'm excited for to see the content and the storylines and what happens in this league. I'll catch you guys in the next one.